And welcome back to Say Yes to Chocolate podcast. I am Dr. Becky, and here with me is Sara B. We talk all things healthy aging, staying strong, energetic, living our best life, and all without the overwhelm.
So one of the biggest contributors to aging strong is actually your foundation of your body, your bone health.
Absolutely. And because it is at the recording of this episode, May, which is Osteoporosis Awareness Month, OsteoStrong Awareness Month, Bone Health Month, you take your pick. Our content is all about keeping the foundation of our body healthy, strong, resilient, and fracture-proof.
So when most people think about bone health, they think about osteoporosis, they think about walkers, the hump.
Getting old,
but that hump is a big deal.
Yeah, bending forward.
Or they think that is a future me problem.
Right.
Thank you very much. I don't need to deal with this today.
I'm healthy, I'm strong, I've been active my whole life, I'm perfectly fine. But Sara, what if we told you your bone health is being built or broken right now, this very minute?
And also, what if we told you that test that we rely on for bone health actually isn't telling us the whole story?
Ah, yes.
Ooh.
That's what we're getting into today. We're going to deep dive because this one shift in understanding those concepts could completely change how you think about aging strong. So here's where most people get misled. We've really been taught in the bone health world to focus on bone density. It's all we hear. It's all the commercials. It's what our doctor's talking about. That's what we talk about if we get a DEXA scan, which is a bone scan.
That's what everybody talks about.
Yeah, but bone density is actually only part of the picture. Because your bones are not just solid structures, inanimate objects. We kind of all think about what a skeleton looks like.
Right.
Your bone is actually living tissue and are constantly breaking down and being rebuilt, just like every other tissue in the human body. Bones just break down and get rebuilt at a really slow pace. And here's the deal. What actually determines how strong your bones are, i.e. how fracture resistant they are, isn't just how much bone you have. It's not just bone density. It's actually the quality of that bone.
So wait. So what you're saying is that you could have normal bone density, but still be at risk for fractures.
Yes, because if that bone is brittle, it's going to not be able to withstand an impact. On the flip side of that, you could have lower bone density, actual density, less bone, but it's healthy and flexible and elastic and resilient and be able to withstand impact better than a fully dense brittle bone.
And I feel like there's so many people who don't talk about that.
I don't think anyone talks about it, quite honestly. The rhetoric is starting to change. We're starting to have a little bit more of that, primarily because bone disease is actually a relatively new thing in healthcare that we've really focused on. It's really only been assessed for about the last 20 to 30 years. And there's really only been treatment options for about the last 20 to 30 years. And of course, the more things are diagnosed, the more things are treated, the more history that we have of what actually truly improves things like fracture risk and fracture prevention, the more awareness is being brought around it. And we are fully aware at this point that there's way more to the story.
So that's what we're going to be talking about.
Yes.
But can you give us a visual of kind of like, so we can take what you just said, but put it in a picture form for us?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. You're talking about the building?
Let's talk about that building.
All right.
Yes. And the bricks.
So think about either, building a building, building a house, building a wall, whatever you want to build in your mind. Bone density, if you will, is essentially the materials or like the bricks. So think about the lumberyard, backs up, drops off the pallet of bricks to build a wall, drops off the, 2x4s to start building your house, whatever you want to build. That's bone density, right? So if that's all we take into consideration as far as the strength of the structure we're building, is just having a pallet of bricks sitting there guaranteeing that you're going to have a strong wall or a strong house? No, there's a lot more that goes into it, right?
Absolutely.
100%. So if the materials is literally just the density of our bones, we have to take into consideration all of the other materials. You have to have mortar to hook the bricks together. You've got to have nails. You've got to have sheetrock. You've got to have 2x4s in order to build a strong structure. You also have to have workers that show up and put all that stuff together, right?
Right.
I mean, you got to do the work. So if we use that as a visual, just having the bricks sitting there is one component, but it is by no means a guarantee that we're building a strong, weatherproof structure that is sound.
And speaking of weather,
Mm-hmm.
to actually have someone come and build this,
Yes.
you also have to have good weather.
Right. You need to not have inflammation would be another way
Yes.
of reducing the inflammation, reducing the storm, the stress inside the body as well. So there's a lot that goes into it. Yes.
So that's just so good and such a great visual.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what we've been measuring,
If all we do is get a T-score, yeah.
right, is with that all we've been doing is measuring that quantity,
Yes.
but not actually the integrity of the structure.
Absolutely.
Which is our bones.
Yes, 100%. And this matters so much because fractures don't just happen with low density.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So fractures actually happen when there's potentially low density, but the structure has to be compromised. Bone turnover needs to be off, meaning you are not triggering new bone growth at the same rate as your body is clearing out old, icky bone, because it's in a constant state of remodeling. And then when quality has declined, and that can be for several reasons, because there's a lot that goes into building healthy new bone.
Yes.
You have to trigger new bone growth. You have to trigger those osteoblastic bone cells to want to regenerate. And that happens through heavy resistance or loading. You have to give your bones the nutrition that they need. And that's way more than just calcium. And then you have to reduce inflammation. But another big thing that goes into fracture prevention is having good balance and being stable and being mobile and active. And here's the kicker. All of these changes, all of these things that go into healthy bone tissue start years before anything actually shows up on a traditional scan, before you're ever given a T-score or have a DEXA scan. This has all been in process.
So this really isn't like just, oh, let's just wait till the doctor tells us there's something going on. This has been going on for most of our life.
Yeah, that's right, Sarah. And there's so much that you can actively be doing to support your bone health. So let's get into a little 60-second science portion here, because we all love it.
Which is our favorite portion of the podcast, actually. Yes.
I'm a little biased. I'm a nerd. But let's frame this in a really easy to understand manner, right? So your bones respond to what is asked of them. Okay?
Okay.
Does it, you understand? Your bones will literally respond of what is asked of them. So when you strength train, when you lift weights, when you load the skeleton, that's what we do at our wellness center, osteogenic loading.
Yep.
When you eat adequate protein, when you hydrate yourself well, when you manage stress, when you give yourself good sleep, when you support your hormones, your body is getting the signal that we need stronger bones. This body wants me to stay active and healthy and be balanced and fracture resistant. But here's the caveat to that. If we don't do those things, your body will adapt the other way as well. Your body will always adapt to what you are asking it to do. So if you ask it to not do anything, it's not going to do anything, right? It's going to weaken.
Right, yeah.
If you ask it to stay strong and you ask it to be active, it's going to stay strong and be active. Because bones in particular, though, are metabolically expensive. And I think that's another thing that surprises a lot of people is just how active bone tissue actually is. Bone tissue is so active, in fact, it's part of your metabolism. And because they're so metabolically active, if your body doesn't think you need it, meaning you're not asking those bones to stay strong, your body will downregulate bone activity in order to conserve energy, and that energy will go elsewhere. Does that make sense?
Yes. And also so fascinating.
It's
I don't
beyond
think
fascinating.
that's something we really think about or talk about, right? Like, is just that bone takes so much energy.
Yes, and it does. So your body isn't working against you if you're losing bone. It's just responding to the signals that you're giving it. So adaptation, the body's ability to adapt to the environment in which you place it consistently, not aging, okay?
Right, yes.
It's not inevitable. It's not just aging. It's this adaptation that's the key driver here to maintaining bone health or being in a state of bone degradation.
And I feel like this is where people get really empowered or really overwhelmed.
100%, Sarah. And I think a lot of people, as we get older, unfortunately, there's a rhetoric where it's just aging. And the way that's interpreted then is that it's out of my control.
Yep, there's nothing I can do.
It's just inevitable.
Yep.
I just have to go sit in my rocking chair and give up my life. And it is 100% false.
So let's bring this back to our KISS method.
Simple and sustainable, right?
Yes. Yep.
I'm going to reiterate this. You do not need a complicated protocol, 27 different supplements, a total life overhaul. We don't have to start meditating 5 hours a day. We don't have to have complicated morning routines and evening routines, all of this stuff, especially now in this day and age that we see like on social media and all that stuff. We're going to keep this simple. What you actually need is just awareness. And the T-score off of a DEXA scan is just one piece of that. And it's important. I'm not saying that it's not important. It is a data point. But a DEXA scan doesn't tell the whole story. We can also talk about REM scans. We actually talked about a REM scan, which is ultrasound technology. Yep. That gives you a way more complete picture of your bone health. And when you have your T-score from your DEXA and the T-score and the quantity and quality scores from a REM scan, we get a way bigger picture of overall bone health and then, of course, fracture prevention. So awareness is the first step. And then knowing that there's so many things within your control and that you just seriously need small, consistent inputs. Bone responds way more positively to consistent inputs over intensity types of inputs. So we don't need to be going and doing an intense workout every single day in the gym. It needs to be small, consistent actions that support that metabolic activity of bone.
So instead of asking, what is wrong with me? We're going to be asking,
what signals am I sending my body right now? What am I asking my body to do on a daily basis? Literally.
So if somebody was listening and they're like, wow, like this is really awesome. I'm learning so
this.
much. I get this. But now what's the next step? What am I going to do about this?
So we're going to start here. We are going to add one bone supporting signal this week. You can add it today as soon as you stop listening to this podcast. Maybe lift something heavy. Pick up that laundry basket. Obviously, it needs to be relative to you. You know the strength that you're starting from. You know if you have a chronic low back problem. You know if you have a bum knee. So be smart about that. But literally, just start lifting something a little bit heavier than maybe you would have prior to listening to this episode. Prioritize protein at breakfast. Starting your day with a protein load, your bone is actually more volume by weight of protein than any other nutrient out there. So starting your day with protein also boosts your metabolism, can be a game changer when it comes to bone health and muscle health, quite frankly. The other huge component of being fracture resistant, aside from having healthy, strong, resilient, good quality bone, is having good balance. So maybe start practicing some balance and stability exercises. Just start practicing standing on one foot. Start practicing walking with your head up rather than your eyes on the ground. Those few things can be so easy to incorporate. And while they might sound simple and easy and maybe not important, it's the little things, like I just talked about, that we do on a consistent basis that make the biggest impact when we talk about bone health and fracture resistance. So that's it. Bone health isn't built in extremes, guys. It's just not. It's built in, like I said, those consistent signals over time.
And this is exactly why we are celebrating bone health this month, because it is, well, as we're recording it, May, and Osteoporosis and OsteoStrong Awareness Month, because of this conversation.
Density is a key data point, but quality is way more important. And then we're also going deeper. So a lot more topics to come. We've already covered a few, so go check out the last few episodes, but we're talking all about T-scores explained without the confusion. That's a constant conversation that we have on the regular. We're going to be talking about osteopenia. What does that mean? The 3 primary things to do that will actually build stronger bones. The biggest mistakes women have after they get a bone scan or are given that T-score or given that label. DEXA versus REMS, that's one of the previous episodes that we did. What actually builds bone and what most women are actually missing. What is one huge missing piece.
We're just really excited. These are great conversations that we're so excited to have and for you to join us in. And if you're thinking right now, like, what is that simple plan I can start today?
Like, how can I implement the information that I'm learning?
That actually makes sense.
Well, that's exactly what we walk through in our 5-module workshop called the Age Strong Energy Experience. We talk about the key components to actually aging strong and having energy and staying independent and confident and continuing to say yes to our life. And that is, we talk all about strength, including bone health, stability, which is that balance component, vitality and energy, and then also recovery and the importance of allowing your body to rebuild and repair. So if that is something that you're interested in, of course, we think it's awesome, but there is a link in the show notes down below for you to learn way more about that. And we'd love to have you join us in that if that is a program that is something you would find value in.
And really what's important, there's no overwhelm, there's no extremes. It's really just simple, sustainable things we can be doing consistently.
And the 5th module in there is you building out your Age Strong daily routine so that you're able to implement and take action.
And we really like to keep things simple because aging strong isn't about doing more. And It's just about really doing the right things and knowing what your body's asking for.
Yeah, just doing the things that actually matter and will move the needle. And then really, it's all about saying yes to your energy, your strength, saying yes to your life. And as always, Sarah,
saying yes to chocolate. Thanks for hanging out with us on Say Yes to Chocolate.
if today's episode gave you a win, something to think about, or even just a smile, we'd love it if you'd subscribe, rate, and share it with a friend.
Want more? Join our email newsletter so you don't miss a beat and come find us on all the social channels at Say Yes to Chocolate Podcast for all the quick hints and tips.
And don't forget, you can always send us your questions or episode ideas. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, keep it simple, stay curious, and always say yes to chocolate.